Hey everybody, how are you doing? My name is Joshua Gerard and welcome to my channel. So this is the first time I'm actually setting up a channel for myself. I'm pretty excited. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in the future besides talking about everything I love about games, pop culture, sometimes TV shows, sometimes movies, but mainly video games and stuff that's related to my podcast. So I am one of the hosts of the Super Co-op Squad video game podcast. It's a podcast that I run with two of my great friends, Garrett Laney and Johnny Mack. So definitely check out the YouTube channel, click on the link below, and that way you'll be able to subscribe to the channel. Feel free to subscribe to mine and get to know a little bit about my podcast and what we do. So welcome to the front side of my room. So this is kind of where all the gaming magic happens most of the time. So you'll see I have a bunch of collectible cool stuff. I have more stuff throughout the room, and maybe you'll get a little bit of a tour some other time. But today it's all about getting to know about me, learning a little bit about me, so that way you can kind of ask me questions in the comments below. If there's anything you want to know, feel free to ask. But let me tell you a little bit about me. So I've been gaming, I don't know, for a long time. My first system that I personally owned was the original Game Boy, and that's something that really transcended how I learned how to play games, how I did things by myself. I didn't have anyone else to play with. I didn't have a link cable to play other games with other people on the Game Boy. I had an NES growing up, but mainly the Game Boy was my life. So trying to figure out how to come up and get four AA batteries was a challenge a lot of the time. But that was where I learned a lot of my loves. My first Final Fantasy was on the Game Boy. My first Zelda was on the Game Boy. My first and my favorite puzzle game was on the Game Boy. So there was a lot of stuff that really evolved from there. So I'm really excited that I have been able to evolve with gaming all the way in the early 90s. And you know, I'm an 80s baby, so there's a lot that's came out since then. All right, so let's talk about some of my favorite items. So my favorite system is probably going to be the Super Nintendo. I have my SNES Classic that's sitting over here. I didn't own an SNES, but there was a lot of games I played post 16-bit era, so a lot of love goes out to the Super Nintendo. A lot of the awesome games, especially RPGs, platformers, action games, came from that system in that era. So there was definitely a time in the console wars where Nintendo was really battling it out, but I'm glad that they came out on top, in my opinion, compared to the Sega Genesis. Favorite video game of all time? That's tough because I have a lot of love for a lot of different genres. My favorite game of all time, I don't know. I'm gonna just give you genres. I'm gonna do it by genre. Okay, so favorite RPG, I love JRPGs. Probably my favorite genre in general. My favorite RPG game is definitely Golden Sun, and I tie that together with the sequel to that, The Lost Age. Just graphically was amazing on the Game Boy Advance. The way the system was set up, the mechanics, the RPG elements, the gen system, and just the level progression and how the story intertwined was just a beautifully crafted game from Camelot. And I wish that they would do, you know, a high-res HD update for that game, or I would even accept it if it was just like Octopath Traveler on the Switch, where it was a 2.5D system. That would change how the game looks phonetically, but I would really enjoy that, very much so. I'm really big into puzzle games. I don't play a lot on mobile. I'm mainly console. I grew up with a lot of puzzle games. Favorite puzzle game of all time, which was on the Game Boy, how I played it, Tetris Attack. Now that game, I have so much love for that game. I missed Pokemon Puzzle League on the N64, which is practically a clone with Pokemon thrown into it. But that, I had twitchy hands and I just made it all work. It was just a great game, a great piece overall. And then you mix it with Yoshi characters, great music, and it was just a fun overall game to play. Really loved that game. I would love to revisit that, or maybe have that come back on whenever Nintendo's Virtual Console new system is. I don't know. Nintendo, figure it out. Come on, do it. Do it now. One of my other favorite genres, if you listen to my podcast and you know a little bit about me, I love fighting games. One of my favorite channels is, of course, Maximilian on YouTube. I follow him. I followed him for a long time, followed his streams, and you know, we share the same love for fighting games, even though he's more into it as far as the past, present, and whatever the future holds. But I'm definitely in that category. I have gone to EVO, I think 6 out of the last 7 years for the big final fighting game tournament. First love is definitely Street Fighter. Street Fighter has come a long way. I even like Street Fighter V. Some people don't, but that's okay. It's all about, you know, the love for the community. I love the FGC and what it offers, and how the community really comes together to help each other, but also be very competitive in the scene as well. Super Smash Brothers is second to none as far as fighting games, in my opinion. And my second love Smash Brothers for Wii U is a phenomenal game. I play it every Sunday night after we record our podcast episode with Johnny and Garrett, and I'm probably third in that category against those two, but I'm gonna catch up, and I'm gonna catch up real quick once it comes out on the Switch. Anime? I mean, I really like anime. I grew up with a little bit of anime. I can't say I'm an anime lover because there's so much anime out there that I don't even know half the stuff that's out there. A lot of the stuff that came to America back when I was in high school, Toonami was the mainstay. That's, Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, Inuyasha. Sailor Moon you can even classify in there. Later on there was Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, some Americanized versions of that. But I think I know Dragon Ball Z is definitely my favorite franchise. Just graphically, a lot of it's hand-drawn, especially in the beginning. Just the concept art, just the concept of the storyline in general was just out of this world. And for something like that to really blow up in the States was really awesome. As far as pop culture stuff, let's talk about some superheroes. So favorite superhero, by far, The Flash. I used to do cross country and track, so I have a thing for running, and just having that integrated into a character. Not only that, but forensic science, and Barry Allen is a genius. So let's think about this. He created Flashpoint, went back in time, screwed some stuff up, lost his powers, had to remanufacture a way to get his powers back, and got re-struck by lightning twice. So if we're gonna go DC side, that's DC side. So on the Marvel side, Captain America, favorite superhero. It was sad because when they first announced his death in the comics, that was on my birthday, and I just so happened to be wearing a Captain America shirt, and that really brought it home. And yeah, sad memories, but that's okay. Favorite villain? I would say favorite villain in any type of franchise, it's been Mr. Freeze for a very long time. Victor Freeze, just from the Batman the Animated Series. This was a really cool villain, no pun intended. And just what he meant to me in that franchise was, he wasn't the greatest villain, Joker of course takes the cake, but just something about Victor Freeze that really, you empathize with him in his story to try to bring his wife back, and pretty much, trying to do whatever you can with his science knowledge. And, sometimes you got to do bad things to get what you want in life, but you end up getting thrown in jail because Batman comes to save the day. So, okay. So, favorite franchise of all time. When it comes to video games, it's really hard. I mean, you see, I have some Metroid stuff, a lot of Metroid stuff here. This was a great piece that I picked up from Evo this year in 2018. My number one love, I would have to say it's Zelda. I'm gonna throw up a pic in just a second for you guys, but right here where you can't see it, I have a whole wall dedicated to Zelda games, some amiibo, a couple posters, and some really cool stuff. Like, I am a fanatic for The Legend of Zelda. Secondly, I'm a fanatic for Mega Man. Mega Man is, when it comes to action adventure, kind of open world Zelda, it takes the cake. But when it comes to platforming adventure, which I have a love for that genre too, I have tons of Mega Man games up here. I'm trying to complete, my Mega Man and Zelda collection. I've got a bit to go, and it's pretty pricey now that, retro is always expensive online. But those two, the Blue Bomber and the Green Tunic, are definitely my top two. Backup reserves, of course, will be Metroid, Castlevania, Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy, I have a lot of love for that franchise, and I really hope that whenever the Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out, that it's good. I just want it to be good. Some other games that deserve an honorable mention, I would say Mass Effect for sure. Mass Effect was definitely a series that captured my heart. Gears of War is a fantastic game as well. Some other ones that are notable, Mario, classic Mario. I do love my 2D games. Sonic deserves some love too. Just a lot of older stuff. A lot of older retro games really don't get the spotlight. But retro is making a comeback. It's making a pretty good resurgence. We talked about it in our most recent episode on our podcast, episode 94. We comment on some of the stuff that was in the Nintendo Direct and how a lot of older types of game genres Nintendo's really grasping and coming back. I mean, just look at, some games like Celeste. Celeste is probably one of my favorite games. in the last 2 years when it comes to old school pixelated styles platforming, and just the way the mechanics work was just phenomenal. I just finished Chasm, which I plan on throwing a video up, that was on Steam and PS4. Retro style 16-bit Castlevania-like game that was really great, and I had a lot of fun with it. So next game I'm probably going to play, you can't really see it on TV here, but it's probably going to be Spider-Man. And then soon after that, I'm not sure. We'll have to see what's up on the list. So again, thanks for watching my channel. If you want to see anything that I post in the future, please subscribe, hit that button below, and also check out my podcast, Super Co-op Squad Video Game Podcast. We just recently started doing video, so we're now going to be on YouTube. Just figured out how to get our setup going. We've been messing with that. I've been messing with the setup here, so hopefully I'll get some more equipment, make it look a little bit cleaner, make it look a little bit better. And then also for our podcast, we're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're on Google Play, I believe we're on SoundCloud. There's a bunch of stuff that we're on. Of course, we're on Facebook and Twitter, so if you want to follow me, I got those down there for you below. And then anything else you guys want to do, just leave a comment below, and we'll go from there. So thank you very much. Welcome to my channel, and we will see you around. See ya.